Morning gardeners. It's early April 2018. The Phoenix area is definitely getting warmer. We're up to the high 80s and low 90s for our highs here. Things have really flushed out with growth. Most of the plants are flowering, the fruit trees. But I want to do a graft update for you today. It was about a month ago when I showed you the grafts that I had done on my fruit trees. I did quite a bit of that this year. Mostly fig grafts, but I did do some other stone fruit, freestone trees to diversify the fruit that I get on each planting. So right here in front is a Hollywood plum, and this tree's been in the ground for about 2 years, and I did 3 grafts on it. Well, I should say I did 6 grafts, 2 of each variety. So up front here is a Satsuma plum, and you can see here's the actual graft point. And the buds just push through the parafilm. Here on the other side is another of the same variety. So these look like they've taken very well at this point. Down here I have another one variety, 2 grafts. This is the Methley. And the graft style I used on this is tongue and whip grafts. The scion was very small on these that I got from Burnt Ridge Nursery. So on cost, I paid $4 for each scion, and I was able to do 2 grafts out of each. So it's very economical to do this. The last one is a green gauge. That's taken off. This one I did a different style. This is a rind bark graft. And this is also green gauge, and you can see that has taken as well. So I now should have 4 varieties on this tree. I don't expect any of the new varieties to fruit for me, but next year I should get some fruit. This is my Sage persimmon, and I did 2 different types of persimmon on this one. This one right here is a Fuyu, and you can see it's just broken bud there. This was one of the slowest ones to show any growth signs, and actually the same variety that I grafted at the same time hasn't broken bud yet, but I can tell based on the coloring of the scion that it's still alive. I did these 2 grafts of an IZU, and it's just showing the very first sign of pushing. So even though this tree was active with growth when I grafted, it seems to be those 2 varieties or maybe later. So they didn't show signs as early as some of the other plants. So those scions were also from Burnt Ridge Nursery. Okay, this is my raspberry latte fig. I had tried a Maltese Falcon graft. It's no longer. I cut that off. It failed. And why did it fail? Well, a few things. I ordered that variety along with some others from C. Willis out in Florida, and my scions actually got lost in transit. Took a week, and there was a storm coming through at the time, so I think my scions were damaged up front. Second mistake I made was I received them in December, and I grafted them right away, and we had quite a few cold snaps, and I would probably never again graft onto a dormant tree and expose my scions to cold snaps. I think it damages the scion, dries it out, and it's just much better to wait until it's warmer once your last potential freeze is over with to graft. Now, I did have another scion. This is a Coldedom Gris, and you can see it's flush with growth. It's put on like 8 inches on this branch. This is a very nice French fig variety. I got this one from Greenfin, which I didn't expect to. They've had some issues. You can check that out in the fig forums, but it was a long time to wait to get it. This I grafted at the same time, and it took. So it went through cold snaps. But unlike that Maltese Falcon that actually started to push growth, this one didn't. It waited until it was warm. And that was a key difference to success. I think if a fig tries to push growth and then it goes through a cold snap, it's going to kill the whole thing. So it's really best to wait. Wait until maybe late February to do your grafting. If you're in the Phoenix area, just keep them in the refrigerator, put them in the crisper drawer, and they'll be fine in that climate. So the largest amount of scion fig wood that I picked up was from Harvey at Figaholics, and I would absolutely recommend, if you're gonna do grafting, get your scions from him. He knows what he's doing. It's completely quality type cuttings. They're the right size. He gives you a tracking number. They're delivered promptly. They're well packaged. They're sterilized. And they're actually very economically priced. As well as he's got probably the best variety of anyone I've seen out there. And you know that you're going to get one that's true to variety. This right here is a Toro. This is a newer variety that he stocks. And these are supposed to do 300-gram figs. You know, they might not here, but in their native climate, they're capable of that. And you can see this variety happens to be one that is a little slower to push growth, and it seems to want to grow figs instead of branches, but this is definitely taken. And this is the other one. So from each scion that I got from him, and I paid, you know, between $5 and $15 depending on variety, I was able to do 3 grafts because he gives you such long scions. So again, very economical to diversify that way. This is my 20th century Asian pear. So here are the Hisui grafts. Burnt Ridge Nursery again on these. They've pushed. They actually started pushing growth before the rootstock did. And this down here is a Shinseki. You can see pretty nice growth on that. And those were also whip and tongue graft styles. The pomegranates really took off for me. These were not scions that I got, but I got some small plants of the varieties I wanted to grow. I'll just show you how much growth this is put on. So this is the Purple Heart. There are the Reinbark grafts I did. You can see how long this is. Really pushed a lot of growth. Here's the Parafianca. Same thing, Reinbark graft, 2 of them on either side. Just immense. And this one is a straggler, but this is another Parafianca. And you can see one of them is taken off. The other one is still alive. It's just taking a little longer to grow. So pomegranates are a fairly easy one to graft. See, the other thing I did was I had bought a variegated lemon that's actually in the ground. I took some scions off of that and put that onto my normal Eureka. So I did these grafts in March, and you can see they have taken. Citrus is a little bit more finicky to graft, but 2 out of 2 took on this. So that'll be nice to get that other variety, and the contrasting leaves will be pretty interesting on this plant. Here's the Christmas loquat veneer graft I did. You can see it's taken, pushed a lot of growth. I did another one down here. Has not sprouted yet, but the scion is still very green and alive. Some more fig grafts. So this was a cadota fig. I'm not really interested in growing cadotas. Wanted to graft on some more unusual varieties. So this is the strawberry vert. You can see it's pushing some buds. These fig grafts are behind. The middle one is a Bordesat Blanca Negra, and then I grafted on a Ronde de Bordeaux that I had growing in the ground. This tree, the rootstock hasn't quite woken up. I mean, it's just starting to push some growth on its own. So that's really when you'll see your grafts take off, is once the rootstock itself is growing and pushing. On the green Aschia, so we've got the not Maltese Falcon, this is a Vasilica Sica, and that's done well. All the fig grafts, I pretty much use the Omega grafting tool on, so it's a saddle graft. That works just fine for figs. Here's another Vasilica Sica. Nice growth coming out. See, my muscadines are waking up at the back there. Okay, this is my brown turkey fig. Got a few grafts on here. This is green Kalamata. You can see that's taken nicely. This is another Ronde de Bordeaux I just stuck on here. Just recently, a couple weeks ago, so it hasn't pushed. And that back there is another green Kalamata. And what you can do to encourage your graft to take is if you start to see growth like this coming out from the rootstock, you can pinch that off so that the energy gets put into your graft and healing that. Okay, this Petit Negra, it had tons of grafts on it, and it was the one that I had most of my Willis scions on, and none of them made it. And again, I think it's that combination of I did it too soon. The scions were probably damaged from being in transit too long. They dried out. They got exposed to freezing temperatures. So I'll try again next year, but definitely do my grafting later in the year when any chance of frosts are gone. And I'll probably exclusively go with Harvey at Figaholics from now on. I'm really impressed, so there's really no reason to go anywhere else. And since they're in California, the transit time is very short going from California to Arizona. Here's a Tina fig that's in the ground, and I did another Toro graft. This Toro variety likes to put out figs, so Now it's doing one there. It had one large fig up top there, and I left it until I saw the branch growth starting and pulled it off, because fruit takes a lot of energy and I want this graft to heal, so I pulled that off. I did some olive grafts. The rootstock is an Arbequina, and I grafted on a Sarracena and also a Manzanilla. And I'm seeing tiny little nodes coming out, but definitely olives seem to take their time. I did a scratch test and it's definitely very much alive still. Just no sprouting at this point. Okay, this is my big Persian white mulberry. Did a couple grafts on this one. This is an Oscar. It's just starting to break bud. So I was able to do 2 of these. There's the other one. And that was a whip and tongue graft. And then I also did lavender grafts. Let's see if we can find this in here. The lavender graft actually already has fruit on it. Okay, this is my Celeste fig in the ground, and I've done 2 grafts of the same variety. This is a Longue d'Août, another French fig variety. And the fruit on this variety is quite large, over 100 grams, so nice size fig. You can see how much all the figs are now awake. Super big leaves here, looking really healthy. This is my Genovese Nero in the ground, and I've done an Italian 258 graft here. That's taken. This is my LSU Tiger. Huge leaves on this variety. Amazing growth. And I did a graft on it. This one here is a white Adriatic. Black Mission, I did a lot of grafts on. When I was pruning, I made sure that I had a lot of arms going out so that I could graft onto them to put on new varieties. So this one here is a Black Unknown Greek, and that's put on a lot of growth. This is another of the same variety. This over here is a Figo Preto, and I've heard Figo Preto is pretty much the same thing as Black Madeira. There have been enough taste tests to say the 2 varieties are close enough in all aspects. So get to hopefully try that along with the Black Madeira this year. This is another Figo Preto. These both did well. Over here is another Italian 258. That's taken off nicely. Over here is the Toro. Again, you can see, I mean, these were all grafted at the same time. This one is just barely coming out now with growth. And it looks like it too is trying to push some figs. This is my Violet de Bordeaux in the ground, and over here is another white Adriatic. Oh, see, this is the rootstock, so I'm going to just pull that off. You can see that's pushing growth. This is my LSU Scots Yellow in the ground, and then we've got another Figo Prado graft on that guy. Okay, over on my quince tree, I've got this graft. This was from Burnt Ridge Nursery. This is Aromatnaya. And I have another one somewhere. Here it is. There's another one coming up. So those flushed nice growth. And then this is a Christmas loquat that I experimented with. You can see that it took off. So you can definitely graft loquat onto quince. This is my Texas Everbearing fig. And I've got some grafts on this one. So this right here, it's a Galacia Negra. And that has taken off. Over here, I have a Macedonian Dark. That's taken. And on this side, I have another Galacia Negra graft. There's the LSU Champagne in the ground. And here I've got a graft of Stella. And this is another graft of Stella. Looks a little dried out. I don't know if it's going to push or not. This one was grafted early and experienced some frost. This one may have just been more protected where it's at. So just a quick update on the grafts. By and large, you know, a very cheap way to diversify your plants. Also, if you have limited space, really smart way of being able to grow more varieties of the fruit that you enjoy without taking up additional space. Additional watering, food, all of that goes into a tree. I just wanted to kind of give you an update on how things have really fleshed out. Look at this moringa tree. It was pruned to nothing, and it's flush with growth. This mulberry as well, severely pruned. Look at this, it's all bushed out. Yeah, mulberries. Lots of mulberries growing. Anyways, if you have any questions on grafting, please post them below, and I'll also add some links to grafting videos I find really useful and that helped me. Thanks for watching.